Good morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever you may be watching this here video. My name is Joshua, and I will be your words of wisdom advisor today. And today's topic of conversation, as seen in the title, is self-respect is the key. A lot of times I've noticed self-respect can be interpreted? Can I speak English? A lot of times I've noticed that self-respect can be interpreted as ego. And I just want to say that is just not true. To a degree, it has some truth to it because if we look at ego in itself, it's putting yourself on a higher plane, a higher level. That's not to say that it makes you better than anybody, and you shouldn't believe that you're better than anybody, in my opinion. But you should be able to know when you are being valued and when you are not. But much like I said in the last video, if you haven't seen that, I'll put it up here for you. Go watch it first. That self-respect comes from you, comes from inside of you. And one of the things I've realized about self-respect is if you do not respect yourself, how can you expect other people to respect you? That's a big battle that a lot of times we don't acknowledge because we believe that that external value, that external validation is going to help us figure that out. But it's not going to. That's not to say sometimes that external validation can assist you in getting to your internal and helping you figure out and navigate your worth, your value, your love for yourself. The way I look at self-respect is, or at least a big part of self-respect, is knowing how much you are bringing to the table and also knowing when to walk away from it. Everybody has different values, beliefs, standards, whatever version of that you want to put it as. My nose is itchy, sorry. Everybody has their own viewpoints, their perspectives, their experiences, the things that they dealt with. And a lot of times we see with childhood trauma that people lose their sense of worth, their value, they get depressed, they feel like they're not enough for somebody or for anybody. Been there. I understand that. And seeking that external validation doesn't do anything aside from delaying that internal process. But in some ways, like I mentioned before, it can help you see that the best way to go about it is internally. Now, on that point of no longer seeking that external validation, we come to boundaries. Boundaries is a vital part of self respect that a lot of people tend to overlook because they like to people please. Let me rephrase, they don't like to people please, they just people please. I don't think anybody who does people please actually likes people pleasing, aside from people that act from selflessness. People pleasing and selfless acts are separate. People pleasing is not saying no when you want to, whereas selfless acts is doing something out of the kindness of your own heart. I feel like that should be common knowledge, but I also feel like that's not talked about enough, especially with this day and age. There's a lot of people looking for that external validation from people that don't have anything to do with whatever it is that they're doing. For my people pleasers out there, you gotta find time to make sure you're taking care of you. It's the same analogy when you're on the airplane and if there's a crash or something's going down and the mask comes out from the ceiling of the plane or whatever you want to call that, you got to put your mask on first before you try and navigate somebody else to helping them. And that's kind of the point that I feel like I've reached, where I've gained a mental strength that can't be broken. It might get dented from time to time, and it might take a lot for me to go back into, well, being social again, because I think I'm more introverted than extroverted, but that's another topic for another day. But I feel like I have that mental strength now. And I feel like the best way of going about having that mental strength is to try and help, maybe navigate somebody else who might need that help, figuring out what it is that is going on with them that they might be able to figure it out today. There are a lot of processes that take a long time, but there are also a lot of processes that can happen like that. A lot of times it's just a mental switch. It's a light flicker, whatever you want to call it. Clap on. I don't got one of those, but you get the point. Self-respect also comes from humility. Knowing that you're not better than anybody else, but there's also nobody above you. There's a big concept around idolizing people, putting people on pedestals where really they shouldn't be there in your mind. Although I will say there are positive things that come from that, such as maybe there's a goal that you have in mind and there is a person that you have on a pedestal for those attributes, that a goal that you want to reach that they've already acquired. And that's a good way of thinking about it, instead of saying this person is perfect, this person is this, because nobody's perfect and nobody's meant to be. There might be people that are extremely good at what they do, and that makes them the best, but that doesn't mean that they're better as a person than somebody else. At the same time, on the opposite end, there are people that we can acknowledge that what they're doing is just straight wrong. And although we all make mistakes, we all have lessons to learn from, we all have growth to go through, and that never stops. There's a lot of times that people don't acknowledge the wrong and they just pay attention to what they believe to be right. Self-respect is having that line of, I know that this is right for me, but it may not be right for somebody else. So I cannot force that. I cannot force that upon somebody else, whether it be a perspective, a belief, a religion, a way of life, a way of thinking. You cannot force somebody else. That is out of your control. What is in your control is how you see you. And self-respect is just, it's the key. It's the title and it was in the intro, but it's the truth. Self-respect is the key. If you respect yourself, you will have the mental stability to show everyone else that love and compassion and that respect. I've treated everybody that I've come across, new people, I've treated everybody with a generalized respect, where it's, I'm meeting you for the first time. I don't know you. I don't know what you're about, but I'm going to show you that respect because I don't know your story. I don't know where you come from. I don't know what you've been through, but I'm going to show you a generalized respect. Future Joshua here. I'm in the current process of editing. I wanted to touch on this part again because I wanted to put this in, but I forgot to. It's not to say that I haven't made judgments of people before, because we've all done that. It's human. It's something that we all do. But the point that I was trying really to get to is, I have the mental stability now where that judgment comes and goes, but it's never a lasting effect. It's never like, if I see somebody who might be a whole lot different than I am, I might have something that passes through my mind, but it's literally in one side and out the other, and then I just meet the person. That's really the point that I was trying to touch on with this. And for the sake of clarity, I also want to express that even if you have those judgments, I don't believe that it is okay to initially press that onto them. It is not something that people, it's a negative energy. We want to say it like that. It's like, for example, a big one is racism. If you see somebody that's a different color than you and immediately you think something negative and then you verbalize it, that makes it so much more uncomfortable for that other person. And I believe that self-respect is having that mental strength to withhold those judgments. Keep it to yourself, essentially. At the end of the day, it's an opinion. A judgment is an opinion. That's kind of where it falls. But I'll let you get back to the video. And there was a lot of talk about respect is earned, not given. In some aspects, I can understand that. But it's time that we start understanding that as human beings, we should respect each other generally. Just in general. I acknowledge that you're a human You acknowledge that I'm a human. We all make mistakes. We all do dumb stuff. We all say things that we might not want to have said in the moment and we wish we could take back. We have all done that. Everybody. And if they say they haven't, they're lying. Another thing I talked about with self respect is self control, having your emotions in control, having your mental in control, having your physical in control. Be aware of what you're doing, be aware of what you're actively doing towards yourself and towards other people. Self respect is not just about you. And that's the crazy thing because it's kind of backwards when you think about it. But when you have that level of confidence within yourself and that love for yourself, it will expand outward. You don't have to you don't have to do anything flashy for that to happen. You just got to love you. You got to respect you. And if you see that you're not being respected by somebody and you want them to acknowledge that that's wrong, or if you want to just sit down with them and have a conversation, you should do it. See how they react to you. See if they can sit there and have that conversation with you. But overall, just understand that your value comes from you. It don't come from anything outside. It don't come from anything outside. I used to want the people around me to acknowledge the greatness that I knew that I had. But for some reason, me wanting them to acknowledge it didn't used to make me think that I had it. I know it sounds kind of backwards, but I'm going to see if I can explain it a little easier. It's like wanting people to know that you're great, but you not believing it yourself. It was a lot like that. And I had to take myself out of that thought process because at the end of the day, they don't decide my worth or my value. Nobody does except for me. And whatever higher being is out there, whatever path the universe puts me on, that's what it is. But that self respect is only going to be stronger the more that you focus on yourself truly. Your wants, your desires, your feelings, the way that you want to navigate life, the things that you want to do, your purpose, if you will. All of that is rooted in self respect. All of it. Self love, self respect, self care. Those are the big three, like if you want to say it that way. And I'm not particularly good about talking about myself, nevertheless, even promoting myself. But if you enjoyed this, leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of this type of content. And I will see you in the next one. Stay blessed. Ultra Future Josh here. Let me know in the comments what you think about respect, any points that I might have missed, and or just your general thoughts.